welcome to episode number 130 of the Smoky Mountain Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show's a production of the Something Else Podcast Network, and as I mentioned like 10 seconds ago, it is episode number 130 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from July 23rd, 1994, taped July 5th, 1994, from the Northwest Ash High School in Warrensville, North Carolina. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Scotty Anton to my Scotty Riggs. It's Trey. Trey, how the hell you doing today?
Um, if you had said I was the Marcus Bagwell to your Scotty Riggs, I would have hung up, never spoken to you again.
I mean, that's unfair. Like Marcus Bagwell, he wasn't a huge star, but Marcus Bagwell was like the next level down, I would say, of all the people who never really got a main event push and was never really in that spot where people considered them for it. I think Bagwell would be right in there, which is not necessarily a bad place to be.
I disagree that being Buff Bagwell isn't a bad place to be.
I mean, let's be honest, Buff Bagwell was a bit of a dick. He was a mama's boy. And he fucked up his own career in multiple spots. But like the dude had talent. He could definitely go at least until that broken neck of his.
If you say so.
Did you see, speaking of Buff, did you see the picture somebody posted online that they saw Bagwell? I think it was at not Starcast, but the Thanksgiving weekend thing they do in
WrestleCade.
Greensboro. Yes.
WrestleCade.
Someone went dressed like Judy Bagwell and met Buff.
That's
It, it,
were they riding on a forklift?
no, it was the WCW Tag Team Champion version of Judy Bagwell. So like the whole denim
Oh,
outfit with the WCW tag belt on.
fantastic.
It was, as Don Callis would call it, tremendous.
Yes.
Huh. So I know I made this joke 2 weeks ago, but hey, when have I ever not made the same joke twice? I love that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's baby have a high school named after them 20 years before she was born. It's
I
Northwest.
I'm not acknowledging that joke again.
You barely acknowledged it the first time.
I was polite once.
It's funny because like what I do whenever they move to a new location, I look to see how many episodes are taped there, and so I like write the like Smoky Mountain number 130, July 23rd, 1994, tape July 5th, 1994 from Northwest Ash High School in Warrensville, North Carolina. And then I copy paste it however many times, you know, the shows are being taped from there. And so I put that joke in the first time and then didn't edit it out of the other three episodes. So you bet your last dollar that is listed for the SMW 131, even though I think it's a recap show next week, and SMW 132. I'll have that joke in there, which I promise I'll edit it out. By the way, I don't think we noted this last week or 2 weeks ago, in front of 500 people, if you believe the internet.
I didn't realize there were 500 people in Warrensville, North Carolina.
Well, as I think it was Jericho once said, like sometimes the attendance at these shows outnumbered the population of the town.
Yeah.
Uh, um, by the way, I think I've decided what I would like for us to do for Night of the Legends is to
Okay,
just do,
I just realized is it because Jericho's about to leave the territory, so we need to talk about strange Kentucky people soon.
sadly, like, and I know he says in his book that it's on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure it was never on YouTube. But yeah, we will definitely talk about that. We might talk about it next week because, like I said, I think next week is the recap, not the recap, but the
Mm.
preview episode.
So what were you
Um,
about to say? What are we going to do about the Night of Legends?
so next week's the recap episode, which is whatchamacallit, July 30th. Actually, I better go double check this because I thought like August 6th that show was the Night of the Legends show, but I don't think it is. I think because Night of Legends is the fifth, right? Either the fifth or the sixth. So like they're not going to do like the next day Night of the Legends. So it's probably the week after. So whatever week it is in Smoky Mountain that they air the Thrill Seekers versus whatchamacallit versus the Heavenly Bodies. They are the Legends tag. They are the hair versus hair match from Fire on the Mountain. And I think they show clips of Dirty White Boy versus Terry Gordy. Whatever show that week is, that's going to be Night of the Legends. But it's going to be like because I know we did this one other time where like we watched the actual show and then whatever extras were on the TV show, I piped them into the into our show. So
Yeah.
Night of Legends is going to be one show. It's going to be long, but I think it'll be fun.
Okay.
And this is totally on me. Like if it wasn't my steadfast rule that we do 200 episodes and exactly 200 episodes, I would say break it up into 2 weeks. But, I'm being a dick. So,
But you see,
uh,
never mind. Never mind.
sorry,
I'm not
go
gonna
ahead. What
argue
were
with
you about
you.
to say?
Well, it like the fucking recap show we're gonna talk like 20 minutes about at most.
I know, but the problem with that is it's not consecutive week. But
Is it
I,
not?
I get it. I get it. It's like, I know I'm insane. I have a thing I want to do. And, you know, I promise this is the last time I will ever do a show that I swear will go exactly certain number of episodes. Even though I sincerely doubt any of our listener would care if we veered off script.
I don't think our
Like
listener would care if we didn't do the show at all.
I can tell you, I did not see a whole lot of blowback last week when we didn't have one on Thanksgiving. I would like to believe that was because it was on Thanksgiving and everyone understood. Um,
The August 6th
so
show has got like it's just a show.
yeah,
It appears to still have promos for Night of the Legends. Let me see
or
if it's
maybe at the
from
very least, Fire on the Mountain, since that's the next day or that
yeah,
night, I think.
yeah. The August 6th show is Warrensville, and then let me look at August 13th.
Yeah, August
Yeah, this
13th,
is
then
that's
is
that's
the
Night of the Legends.
okay, great. Um, by the way, according to Google, um, there is no city named Warrensburg in North Carolina. Did I write this wrong?
Warrensville.
Warrensville. Okay, that would explain things. 1 second. Warrensville, North Carolina population. Okay, according to AI on Google, the population of the unincorporated community of Warrensville, North Carolina, was 1,425 in 2020.
Oh my God, I
So
was so confused because I Googled it and I was looking and I'm like, holy shit, there is no way there's that many people in Warrensville, South Carolina. And I was looking at the fucking zip code.
see, I thought you were looking at Warren County, North Carolina, because that's got
Like,
18,000 people in it.
I was
The
sitting here
zip
going,
code,
there's no fucking way that Warrensville, North Carolina has 28,000 people. And then right above that, it says the population is 1,425 as of the 2020 census.
the funny thing is they only have 1,400 people, but they managed to like overlap in two area codes, 336 and 743.
Oh,
Hey, while I'm at this, according to the always reliable Wikipedia, let's do some demographic information. I know you'll be shocked to hear this. 91.14% white.
I'm
Um,
shocked.
yes. 5.33% Hispanic or Latino. 2.77% are other/mixed. 0.55% are Black or African American. And 0.21% are Asian. Now, before making you sit and do math in your head, again, there's 1,500 or 1,425 people. Just think for a second how small a number 0.55% of that is.
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if you take there's a map that shows population density of the enslaved population in 1860. And if you take that and you take a modern map of African American uh, population density, you can almost put them right on top of each other.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it's not that surprising, but it's a little surprising at least. By the way, 8 is the number of people, 0.55% of 1,425 is.
Probably just one family, right?
Maybe 2. Like there's 3 Asian people, so that's one family. But I'll be honest, like, and I always say this is how I grew up to not be racist. Not that if I had more people in my life, I would have been. But in that small town in Pennsylvania I grew up in, there was exactly one black family in that entire town, and one of the kids was in my class. So it's like it was hard. I don't know. Like in my mind, it was hard to be racist because what am I going to be racist towards one person for? Kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm from Arkansas, which there are parts of Arkansas that there are very few black people. And we could get I'm writing a fucking dissertation about that and surrounding things. But I'm from the part of the
Nice.
state where that was cotton producing 160 years ago. So yeah, there was. I feel like the black population in my hometown was maybe like 35-40%.
The funny thing about our conversation here is you would think there's not a lot for us to talk about on this show. There is a lot of fucking audio to play. There's like no wrestling to talk about. There's a lot of fucking audio to play.
Are you gonna put
The
that
Gangstas,
we talked about African American population density? Yeah, it's a good episode to talk about that about.
there you go. The Gangstas are debuting this week. See how we brought it all around? But let's go to the intro here with Bob and Les.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling, professional wrestling the way it used to be and the way you like it. Wrestling fans, this is Bob Cole along with Les Thatcher, and you just saw events from last week as the twin six-man tag teams were announced. Double Trouble, which is set for August 5th and for August 6th, and as a result, at ringside, Jim Cornette's union is now on strike, and we're going to get a shot of them as they're picketing and they're striking around the ring at ringside.
Bob, is this something like Jim Cornette out there marching the picket line? I've seen it all. Now, of course, a lot of things going on today. Also today, we're going to hear from the Funk Brothers, Terry Gordy, the Heavenly Bodies, and a lot more. A great program coming up.
We're going to see the Thrill Seekers. They're going to be in action. And also a new Smoky Mountain Wrestling tag team, the Gangstas.
Yeah.
And since our Beat the Champ is vacant, we've drawn 2 names before airtime, so we're ready to go with our Beat the Champ match. It's going to be Scott Studd against Chris Candido. So let's go.
Let's do it. The Gangsters in the house. We're going to see them later. Let's go to the rings for some action.
All right. So first of all, I don't know if this is the official start of it, but this is the first time that they didn't even have the hat draw. Like it's obviously a work when they pull the names out of the hat, but it's like I always thought it was a nice touch when they pull the names out of the hat. And I know that, as the Beat the Champ moves on, they're gonna just do this every week where they just tell you who the challenger is. So I don't know if this is the first or if this is just this week, and then next week they'll be back to the hat for a little bit.
Okay, Arya, I need you to tell me if I'm crazy or not. Tracy only defended the Beat the Champ 4 times. Did I lose something?
Nope. We discussed this last time. He only defended it 4 times, and somebody miscounted.
You kind of start to understand why the thing just goes away eventually.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't realize it was only 4 times until you said something.
Well, I keep track of that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, to me, and hey, I applaud you for doing that. And thank you for doing that. But I also think to myself, if I, who am a chronic nitpicker, didn't notice it, I doubt anybody in the Smoky Mountains did either.
What are you
I'm not saying you're
implying
wrong.
about the
You were definitely right for that, and that is true. Like, they miscounted, they fucked up, but I'll say I don't think that anybody else noticed. Because I think like a lot of times it's like people don't record the show. People don't have photographic memories of what happens every week. So like if you tell them, oh, he's defended the title 4 times, even if in your head you can't remember it. Also, it's 1994, so there's no internet to go look up that, oh, Tracy only defended the title 3 times up until now. So I think, you know, I don't know. It's like I think people are just they accepted it because they weren't thinking to really know any better.
Do you know why our society has declined so much in the last 30 years? It's this lack of standards.
Yeah. I mean, believe me, I got my big rant coming up soon about all things Smoky Mountain and what I think is a big reason why the attendance drops. Like it's not like I know a lot of people blame the gangstas because, especially like the small towns, the attendance went down. I stand by my thought that it's a lot to do with stipulations not being enforced.
I'm pretty sure that I know what that's going to be about, and I have no idea what it is, so I can't wait to find out.
I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point what it's going to be about, but I'm not going to say because you don't know where it's going. So we'll just leave it at
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
I will always laugh. I love Bob Caudle. I think he is, a criminally underrated announcer. He is incredibly white, and him introducing the gangstas will never not be
Oh,
funny to me.
I can't wait to get to we look. We're never going to get to that if we don't talk about this other bullshit.
That is true. So we go to the ring for the first match, which is Chris Candido with Tammy Fitch versus Scott Studd for the Beat the Champ TV title. Now, Scott Studd is future American male Scotty Riggs. He was in ECW at the end as Scotty Anton. He he did the clap, which was just his name for the sharpshooter.
He
Um,
was he was the recipient of the first ever Van Terminator.
he was the recipient of the first ever Van Terminator. Um, Now, we've mentioned that Candido has been here for a while and he's been learning Southern style and he's been getting better reactions. Because when he started a year ago, he'd be doing dives and no one would react. Well, this week he did a dive and nobody reacted. Oh God, I felt so bad. Because like if you're gonna do a move like that, you gotta get a reaction out of it.
He's so
Um,
good at what was becoming the modern style that like he's wasted here. Like he should have been
it,
working in Japan.
like imagine, and I know this was a big if, but imagine if he had had his head on straight in that mid to late 90s, like in the cruiserweight division, especially. Because like that was when, oh, it's all vanilla midgets. And whatever you want to say about, about Benoit and Guerrero, especially at that time, and Malenko and Rey Mysterio, Chris Candido had the personality of 10 men.
Lance Storm has talked about, and it was probably it had to have been either this year or next year. It had to have been this year that there was talk about bringing Candido and Storm to All Japan as a tag team, and then apparently
That's when,
Baba just pulled the offer because he thought that Candido was going to go to the WWF, which he ended up doing. But like Lance said, like he thought that Candido was more inclined to go to Japan because Chris liked to work hard. He liked to fucking do his thing.
yeah. I thought it was because he did get the WWF offer.
That was the way I remember Lance telling it. I don't know.
I could be wrong too. I think though a lot of it too, it's like it sounds romantic to be an American or in Latin's case Canadian and getting that full-time deal with All Japan or New Japan. But it's like also it's like you're going to be away from home for a long time. And this is again 94, 95, where technology is not anywhere near what it becomes. And so it's like it can be very lonely. And like Mick Foley talked about in his book that like he would write letters home that he hopes his kids never find because they were very depressing because he'd be there all alone and just be lonely as fuck.
But
And
then
I think that has a
Lance,
lot to do with it too. And I know Candido, like I can't. Not that he didn't have a family, because he did, but like I'm sure Tammy would have gone with him, so it may not have been as big of a deal. But it's like still, it takes a lot of commitment to be a gaijin and do full time in All Japan.
And Lance ended up going full time for War like the next 2 years after this.
And wasn't that because Jericho basically was like, I'm lonely and want to get my gaijin friends jobs?
Entirely
mistaken.
possible. I think
You know,
I think Jericho was there at first when Lance was there, and then Jericho ended up going to WCW. And Lance
It's
stayed
possible.
a while. Lance pretty much stayed in War until he became pretty much full time at ECW.
Well, Jericho went to ECW for that little bit of run, and that's actually the first time I was introduced to him. Was that 1996 run, and
The four-way?
well, that too. But when I first watched him was when when he won the TV title, and the only reason why I remembered him at the time was because our mom babysat a kid named Jericho, and he was the biggest pain in the ass kid ever. And so, like, we hated Chris Jericho just because of that name.
Oh.
Just gotta put hating Chris Jericho in the show description and force people to have to listen to see why I hated Chris Jericho. By the way, Chris Candido, who is a comer according to Les Thatcher, won the Beat the Champ TV title with the Suicide Plex. I always laughed because, like, for the longest time, people say, "Oh, he's an up and comer." I was always like, "Well, what's a comer?" And on Smoky Mountain, especially, like Les Thatcher is always calling people comers.
Can we get Tammy to confirm or deny that Chris is a comer?
Maybe that's why she had to fuck Shawn Michaels, because Chris may not have been that great of a comer.
An early comer?
Yes. All right. So up next is going to be one absurdly long segment, but we're going to break this down as much as we can. Les Thatcher is right now going to go to Jim Cornette, who's still outside the ring striking, and they go back and forth and go to multiple other promos, but we're going to try to stop this along the way. So first, let's go to Les. And keep in mind, this is Les going to Jim Cornette and Bruiser Bedlam, who are standing at ringside.
Here all day because I am not happy with the working conditions in Smoky Mountain Wrestling when we have to be associating and wrestling against an attempted murderer like Road Warrior Hawk, along with that old cantankerous Ron Wright, that goof Tracy Smothers, and you, Bullet Bob Armstrong. As a matter of fact, I have a list of grievances as long as my arm that I'd like to pull out right now.
Well, I'd like to give you the time, but I can't. We're going to have to take a break. We'll be back with more action right after this.
Well, fans, as we watch the picket line keep moving, let's hear these words from Cornette, from Bruiser, and the Funk Brothers about double trouble.
Hey, they might have the Hawk, but what have we got? We've got Bruiser Bedlam, the windmilling, pile-driving, neck-breaking, back-breaking, bear-hugging, wrist-locking, knee-dropping, toe-holding son of a gun. And you know what our prognosis is for Armstrong and that sick crew? Our prognosis is pain, lots of pain. Shall it be the Mercy Me's gonna send them to the hospital, or shall the Mercy Me's send them to the graveyard? Decisions. What shall it be, Bruiser, huh? Lot of pain for them punks.
Pain, right, Dory? Pain.
That's right. And I want to say one more thing. I've been waiting 22 long years for Bob Armstrong to step in the ring, and I want to ask him just one time, put that baseball bat away and just step in that ring and let me see who's the better wrestler. It's been a long time, Armstrong. I want to try you.
Yeah, they're calling it double trouble. August the 5th, Knoxville Civic Coliseum, the Night of the Legends. It's a coward waves the flag match. The men that you see here against Bullet Bob Armstrong, Tracy Smothers, the Southern Boy, and Road Warrior Hawk. Ron Wright in the corner with that flag. They say he's not going to waive it. I say different. Then August 6th, Johnson City, Tennessee, Freedom Hall. It's our match. A Texas death match, brother. The one that these men's father invented. The one that these men have never lost.
Never lost a one. Never lost
And Bob Armstrong, Tracy Smothers, and Road Warrior Hawk, and Ron right in the corner in Johnson City at Freedom Hall. You're going to be in a world of trouble, brother. You see, when he had Road Warrior Hawk hidden back in the back, when he had him as his mystery partner, I knew something was up. So that's why I made sure that the contract read that if they got their match on the 5th, we got our match on the 6th. So it's going to be double trouble, all right. A weekend like you have never seen before, Bob Armstrong. And one by one, piece by piece, inch by inch, your crew is going down. First, that decrepit, crotchety old Ron Wright, and his ancient carcass is going to hit the ground. Then Tracy Smothers, the surrogate Armstrong, he's going to hit the ground. And then Road Warrior Hawk. I want you to think about the last time that we saw each other, when I was hanging off that scaffold and you stomped my fingers and you sent me on my way down to the mat at Starcade 86 at the Omni in Atlanta. Hawk, you better realize when they wheeled me into that emergency room, when they took me into surgery, when they put that anesthesia across my face and they said, count backwards from 100. The thought that was running through my mind was, will you ever wake up again? And I wasn't sure. Well, I did, Hawk, and it's going to be your funeral. Because these men are going to instill in you the same kind of thought that I had. Will you ever wake up again? When that surgeon puts that knife to you. And then, Bob Armstrong, you're going to be standing all alone with the most fearsome collection of wrestling talent that's ever been put together. August 5th, Night of the Legends. August 6th, Johnson City, Freedom Hall, Fire on the Mountain. Double trouble. And the trouble's going to be all because of you, Bob Armstrong. Enjoy it.
Pain. Texas death match.
All right.
Okay. So first of all, outstanding promo by Jim Cornette. Not the last time on this show we will say that. Before we get into the details, first of all, as the queen of nitpicking, and Trae, please close your ears because I know how much you hate when I nitpick. But, again, it was not Hawk that knocked him off the scaffold. Not only did they show video of it last week, they will show video of it again this week. However, I'll keep my yap shut.
I have an even nittier nit to pick.
That Les Thatcher went to interview Jim Cornette and that said, "We don't have the time for this. Let's go to commercial."
That too. That was a dick move on Les's part, but that was definitely not the last time that Cornette and Hawk saw each other. The Road Warriors wrestled the Midnight Express about 1,000 times after that.
And I guess, and I was about to say, well, you know, it was a lot of house shows, so they redid the scaffold match like 1,000 times over the next few months, but, you know, Cornette never got back up on the scaffold again. But then, like, well, you know, that was all on house shows, so it's like, yeah, okay, when it's not on TV, it's easy to ignore. When it's not being aired on TV, it's easy to ignore. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, the Road Warriors turned heel by beating the Midnight Express for the tag team titles in New Orleans in '88. I guess they were already heel, but this was the more solidifying the heel turn.
I was really confused for a second, and okay. Midnight won them from Arn and Tully when Arn and Tully were leaving.
Yeah. What were you thinking? Were you just thinking about the 10,000 other scaffold matches they had?
Well, I knew that the Road Warriors beat the Midnight for the World Tag Team title because I think I said that last week or a week or two ago. But then, like, for some reason, my brain was today was okay. The Midnight beat the Road Warriors for the tag title when the Road Warriors are leaving the territory. I got Road Warriors and Arn until he transposed.
I'll even give you that one because when the Road Warriors left the territory on their last night, that was when when they were booked to they were booked to beat the Midnight Express, and their Road Warriors basically refused to do it because they were leaving.
Yeah, that was it was a bit of Jim Herd brilliance, wasn't it?
Yes. I like Terry Funk's promo. I like Dory Funk's promo. Love Jim Cornette's promo. However, once again, I always find it funny that he's saying they call it double trouble when he's the person that began calling it double trouble. But that's I just saw a wacky bump on Dynamite.
you of all people should be understanding. Maybe Cornette's preferred pronouns are they and them.
There you go. And this would be him or they talking about themselves in the third person.
Yeah. We are very supportive of people's identities here on the podcast.
Yes, we are. That's why the original logo for this show was the transgender and asexual flag next to each other. Anywho, so I debated playing this next part, but I'm like, we might as well. So we go back to Les, who is with Jim Cornette and Bruiser Bedlam, and they're in the arena like they were before, in front of the people. And this is why I'm debating playing it first, because like the promo was absurdly similar to the pre-tape. But let's go to the promo and we can discuss that in 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
We're back at ringside. You've seen the videotape. And now let's see if we can get a word. We've got a little time here with Jim Cornette. Now, Jim.
What do you want
Let's
now,
talk about double trouble. Let's talk about your good friend, Road Warrior Hawk.
Let me explain something to you right now and the rest of all these genetic defects here in this building. I want you to listen. I want you to listen good. There is no fear in the hearts of the men in fight. No. The Federation of International Thugs and Eliminators is not scared of anybody walking, especially that we got Bruiser Bedlam as the labor organizer. We are certainly not scared of Hawk. But I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's good working conditions. I don't think it's right that we should have to associate with a man like that. That we should be forced to get in the ring with an animal like Road Warrior Hawk. Not to mention a crotchety, persnickety, ornery, nasty, disgusting old man like Ron Wright that gives managers a bad name. I've worked long and I've worked hard to uphold the honor of professional wrestling managers, and Ron Wright does us no good at all. It's all because of Bob Armstrong and his surrogate son, Tracy Smothers. They're the ones that put this whole thing together. I wouldn't have signed that contract for a Coward Waves the Flag match if I'd have known their partner was Road Warrior Hawk. But I would have signed that contract for a Texas death match if they had King Kong or Godzilla. So you may have one up on us, Bob Armstrong, in Knoxville on the 5th of August. But we got one up on you on the 6th of August. And Hawk, on a personal note to you, my friend, last time I saw you, I was looking up, you were stomping my fingers, and I shortly after took a trip that they don't advertise at Disneyland. I went to the hospital, I went in the emergency room, I underwent surgery. That doctor took a knife to my knee, brother, and sliced it wide open to repair the damage that you caused, Hawk. And when they put that mask over my face, that anesthetic, and they said, count backwards from 100. The last thought that went through my mind before I drifted off into limbo land was I might not wake up again. Well, Hawk, I guarantee you something. Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk and Bruiser Bedlam are 3 men that can make you have the same thought, make you think the same thing. Bruiser Bedlam and the Funks are going to make all the members of Armstrong's People's Union have the feeling they might not wake up again after that Coward Waves the Flag match, if they even make it to Fire on the Mountain for the Texas death match. And now we've got some more picketing to do, and I'm standing right here, and I'm going to do it. You don't seem to realize we are a union. We've got the right to be here. Nobody can make us leave. You can't make us. You can't make us. We're striking.
Your good friend, Road Warrior Hawk.
I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. We're striking, and we're going to stay here from now.
Well, here comes some more union organizers. And well, here comes Tracy Smothers, Bob Armstrong, and Ron Wright.
All right, so we'll pick that up here in a minute. So I messaged Trae off while that was playing. I forgot to ask Trae what his thoughts were on the promo, so I'll let you tell us your thoughts on this part of the promo here, back live with Cornette and Bruiser Bedlam.
I thought they were both good promos.
Mm-hmm. Like, to me, it's like, and I don't know if this was an editing issue. Like, I'm not saying Cornette didn't know when, like, he was putting the show together, but it's like he basically told the same story in both promos. And that's why I was kind of like, okay, this is where I was like debating playing it, even though this is the moment where Bob and Tracy run them off.
Yeah.
But by the way, I also forgot to mention, or I forgot to mention, before the intro of the show, they had a cold open where they replayed last week where Cornette and Bullet Bob did their thing. So I'm really on a roll this week. You know, I fucked up the intro. I didn't mention the cold open. I didn't let you talk last time. This is not my best show. So
It's okay.
I did.
Yeah.
I did note that when Jim Cornette talked about the genetic defects in the crowd, they did not, like last time, they did not show a special needs person in the crowd. So there's a step up for the Smoky Mountain production staff this week.
Baby steps.
There you go. But yeah, I literally at the end I wrote, literally this was almost the exact same promo as the pre-tape, just without the funk. All right, and from here we're going to get a quick little word with Bullet Bob, Tracy Smothers, and Mr. Ron Wright.
And he just told me nothing was going to stop him from picking him, but I think you must be nothing.
Well, I'll tell you this, he didn't take into account the old Smoky Mountain matchsticks. That'll change a lot of people's minds. He's talking about Road Warrior Hawk. No matter what he says, he's on his way. The contracts are signed. The deal is done. And before I say anything else, let's hear a few good words from our partner, Road Warrior Hawk.
Let's go to that video right now.
Okay. I mean, I guess I didn't really have to play that, except just to, you know, hey, they said they weren't going to be run off, and Bullet Bob, Tracy, and the Tennessee Toothpick ran them off.
Yes. Now, can we play the Road Warrior Hawk promo so I can then hear the Ron Wright promo?
We are. Because right now they replayed the Starrcade 86 bump, so insert me ranting and raving here. And now let's go to Road Warrior Hawk, and that's going to segue into the official promo of the Babyfaces.
Well, goodness gracious, mercy my. I wonder what time it is. I don't have a watch. Can't tell. Oh, perhaps it's time to deviate septums. Perhaps it's time to detach retinas. Perhaps it's time for torn cartilage, swelling of the fluid sac surrounding the brain. It's time for double trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, let the good times rule. Armstrong and Smothers on my side against the trio of Funks and Bruiser Bedlam in double trouble. Oh, gracious, they're coached by none other than Jim Cornette. Whoa, whoa, I hate you. I'm coming August 5th and 6th. Double trouble. Coward waves the flag match. Ain't never fought one of them before. Be happy to do it though. Texas death match. I'm gonna come August 5th and 6th. Double trouble. But not for Smothers, Armstrong, or me.
Jim Cornette, if you're back there listening, your union is busted. August the 5th, Coward waves the flags, then August the 6th, Texas death match, and I can't think of a better partner than Road Warrior Hawk. Me and the Bullet are going to take care of the former NWA heavyweight champions, the Funks, and we got a man that can match power. What we're trying to say, guys, is we're open for business, and business is good. Right, Ron? Ron?
Mr. Thatcher, let me tell you, you don't know what an honor it is to be in the corner of these men both nights. The flag won't wave. I probably won't even carry a flag out there, just have a concrete studded club out there for Cornette. Cornette, let me tell you, my job, waving the flag will not be to wave it. It'll be to wrap that concrete flag around your thick head to make sure you're not able to interfere with the match. And let me tell you something, brother. Johnson City in the Texas death match. I'm the meanest SOB that ever walked when it come to death matches and chain matches. I'll be up there to see that business is took care of on your head, Cornette. So you better keep your nose out of the ring and out of these men's business, because if you stick it in, I'm going to chop your head off, even with your shoulders, and we won't have to worry about you ever again, brother.
Brother Bob, wrap it up.
He's exactly right. I'll tell you this. Tracy said it right. His union is busted. We're coming like gangbusters. We're going to get the job done. The Funk Brothers, former world champions, and the strongest man in the world. And Cornette, look what we got for you. You ain't going to like it a bit. You ain't going to like it when that long arm of retribution reaches out, grabs you by the back of the neck, and shows you what it means to break a man in two or just break a man completely. That's what we're going to do. Road Warrior Hulk, the 5th and 6th, we're going to get it done, brother, and we can't wait. It's almost here. It's around the corner. The People's Union will prevail, brother. Come on, let's do it.
All right, and now let's hear the complete card for the Night of Legends.
Alrighty, so Hawk from somewhere is planning on injuring people coming up here at the Night of the Legends. Where do you think he was? It was a very echoey location.
I don't know. It is always funny when you realize like how often like wrestlers reuse certain lines. My favorite Road Warriors promo of all time, I think it was a Super Brawl 1996. Sting, Luger, we're gonna deviate your septums, we're gonna detach your retinas, and a lot of other really nasty things.
And the best part about this to me is like we brought back Mr. Ron Wright, and he's been getting to cut promos every week on TV. It's gonna suck to see him leave again, but hey, enjoy it while it lasts, right?
Yes, I greatly enjoyed hearing from Mr. Ron Wright, and I would love to hear from him more.
I just liked, and it was kind of subtle, but like Tracy's basically like, I'm not going to wrestle Bruiser Bedlam. Hawk is.
Well, that's what he's there for.
There you go. And I just love Mr. Ron Wright. He's going to hit his concrete flag off Cornette's head, knock it clean off his shoulders, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. And he'll make sure business is took care of.
I bet he will.
Yes. A pair of strong promos here. It's like, this whole thing, beginning to end, took up what? Not including commercials, 11 minutes and 24 seconds. And if this wasn't going to make you excited for Night of the Legends, and specifically the 6-man tag main event, then nothing was going to.
I'm excited for Night of the Legends. Let's go.
Honestly, like when we get that time machine finished, we basically have to go back and watch the entire run of Smoky Mountain live.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can go back to December '93 and stop the race kerfluffle.
Maybe we can save a copy of Strange Kentucky People to upload to YouTube.
There you go. Just like stalk Chris Jericho, buy him a couple drinks, I'm sure he won't notice.
Yeah.
The problem is when we go back in time, we would have to make sure to get older money because like it was still like the old U.S. currency. So like we can't go back there with modern day updated currency because we'd be fucked.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Doc Brown and Back to the Future. At one point, you see he opens his briefcase and he has like different currencies from like different times and places.
Mm-hmm. That's not good. And it's like ultimately like, the reason why time travel could never work, even if they did invent it, because even when you have people who are going back for like normal shit, like we would just want to go back and watch a bunch of classic wrestling, there would be people who fuck it up, and the timeline would be so fucked, it's not even funny.
Well, maybe there's a secret society of of responsible time travelers who are only going back to look, and we just have to keep showing them that we won't misuse the power, and then they'll give us a turn with the time machine.
That we deserve such a thing.
We deserve it. We deserve it.
By the way, Mercedes Moné looks very good tonight. That's all I'm going to say. Spoiler
Not
alert:
surprised.
a very good-looking woman.
I am not
looks very good.
surprised.
Yes. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I want to know her skincare routine. But oh well.
Yeah.
Does that make me a stalker? I don't think so. Anyway,
I don't.
so up next,
I'm sorry. You're only a stalker if you follow her around trying to ask her about her skincare routine.
Okay, good. I'm not gonna. I don't know where she really lives because I'm pretty sure she doesn't live in Boston these days. I'm not gonna follow her around to like CVS or Walgreens to see what she buys for skincare. Hell, she might just go to Amazon. Why bother go, to the stores and just buy it online?
Unless I know otherwise, I assume that all wrestlers live in like Orlando or Tampa.
There you go. It makes sense at this point. Not even really at this point. Like especially after the pandemic, everyone was based in Florida, so it makes sense. All right. So it's now time for essentially the main event of the show. Chris Hamrick and Anthony Michaels versus the Gangstas. All right. So I'm going to see what you think about this, Trey. Now, the Gangstas came in. They did not have weeks and weeks of music videos or skits or anything building them up. They had an announcement at the end of last week's show that next week we're going to have the Gangstas here. And to these people who did not know them from Adam, here's what they saw. They saw two men walk out, dressed very similarly to like Ice-T and people of that, generation, wearing Los Angeles Raiders jackets. They looked cool, and keep in mind, they're just walking to the rings. You don't see, they haven't stopped to slap hands or anything like that. They got a pop when they came out. Because I think the fans, it wasn't just a white and black thing at this point. It was, they saw a couple badass looking guys and they looked pretty cool. And like, especially like, because the cheers you heard a lot at first were kids. And I think, while yes, New Jack was here specifically to piss off white people, I think it could have worked had they played it straight. Now, New Jack is probably the wrong guy to be the black guy to play it straight, but I think at least from the first 30 seconds of them walking out, that they could have had something with them as baby faces.
If you want an African American baby face in Appalachia, you don't hire New Jack.
There you go. And I mean, it's like, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, there was a bit of a pop when they came out.
Sure.
Okay. Now keep in mind, they didn't just come out themselves. They also had a good amount of security with them, and it wasn't the white guys in yellow T-shirts with the word security on it either. They brought out 4 very large, muscular black men to be their security guards, and they basically. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I believe the term is posse.
Well, I was avoiding saying that until they say it on TV, but yeah. And the story is that they do not trust the local police squad, so they have a bunch of their own security guards. Now, I was wondering, or no, I'm sorry, this is what they said. The announcers asked, what do you think is going through the mind of Chris Hamrick and Anthony Michaels? And my guess is, did the check clear this week? Now, I did laugh because if you remember when Les Thatcher debuted on commentary a few months ago, I made fun of the fact that he could not tell us which thrill seeker was which for the first few weeks. He had zero problem telling us which one was New Jack and which one was Mustafa. So I popped for that.
Well, that's good.
Yes. Now it's notable and it's kind of obvious it's New Jack and Mustafa, but like they did not do a bunch of pretty wrestling moves.
No.
There was a lot of punching, a lot of kicking, a lot of brawling. The finish was the closest we had to a wrestling move. Mustafa gave Michaels the running power slam, and New Jack won with a top rope headbutt, which even with everything we've seen so far, that still got some cheers.
You're leaving out the best part, and this was like the one thing that made me feel joy, like in the last week. If you've ever seen wrestling, you know there's a part where the referee will check the like key points of the talent's gear to see if they have weapons hidden in their boots or their knee pads. When Mark Curtis went to check New Jack and Mustafa, they turned around and grabbed the rope and assumed the position like they were being frisked.
I'll be honest, I did not notice that.
I love that. So it was my favorite part. It's just fucking amazing detail.
Now, I will say perhaps the reason why I didn't really pick up on it or didn't really notice was because Nails did that too in the WWF.
Oh.
And like it was certainly cool, but you know, still when Nails does something, it's like, yeah, it's
I would gather I would wager that if you put New Jack and Nails side by side doing anything, New Jack would be cooler doing it.
I can almost guarantee that. I do not know if Kevin Wachholtz is still alive, but I'm going to bet dead New Jack is still much cooler than dead Nails.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So if this was it, if this was all we had of the Gangsters this week, that would have been a fun, opening salvo. That would have been, okay, it was cute. It was a nice match, and we'll see what next week brings. That was not the last we heard of the Gangsters this week, because they made their way over to Bob Caudle, and by they did go there for a promo, but the promo was not they. The promo was New Jack. And let's go to New Jack, who's going to set the tone right away as to what we have in store for us for the next 11 months.
Here they are. We get our first opportunity to talk to them. The new tag team on the block of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Impressive they are, the Gangstas. New Jack.
Let me tell you something. 30 years ago, we would have been strung up in somebody's tree, getting hung for beating two white boys the way we just did. But now, you might want to come out here and put some belts on us, but the only belts we going to be wearing around here is the tag team belt. Let me tell you something. I don't like being up here. I was getting out of my car. I slipped and fell. It's a tobacco spit. And you know what I'm saying? Nothing but rednecks up here. Nothing but geeks up here. Nothing but coal miners up here. Chicken farmers, Klansmen. I don't like nobody but my partner. You understand? I don't care who you line up in front of me. I'm going to show you how bad New Jack and Mustafa is. You want to talk about violence? Violence to you might be putting somebody in a figure four. Violence to me is taking a can of gas and pouring it on you and setting you on fire. Like me or not, I didn't come up here to be liked. I came up here to get paid. And whoever you put in front of me, I'm going to drop you down. I'd like to send a special shout out to my homeboy, O.J. Simpson. Keep up the good work, baby. 2 less we got to worry about. You understand? Keep up the good work. Louis Farrakhan will be the next president. Snoop Dogg, we know you're innocent. You called me last night. You understand? Get ready, Smoky Mountain, because we're going to set this place on fire.
All right, fans, there they are, the team to be heard from in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. New Jack, Mustafa Saeed, the Gangstas. We'll be back right after this.
Oh, my God.
New Jack.
We're not going to have to worry about them being cheered anymore.
No, that. New Jack was perfect. Okay, the story, I believe that New Jack and Jim Cornette have both said in more or less these exact words. Cornette's instructions to New Jack were verbatim, go out there and make white people mad.
And oh boy, that's what he did here.
I'd say he did it. Bob looked so uncomfortable.
Yes. I literally wrote, Cottle looks amazingly uncomfortable here. It was tremendous.
It was so good.
I wrote down 3 of my favorite lines. 30 years ago, we would have been strung up in somebody's tree being hung for beating up 2 white guys. It's funny, but it's not funny because, like, how true is this? But yeah, um, violence to you might be putting somebody in the figure 4. Violence to us is getting a can of gas, pouring it on you, and setting you on fire.
Hey,
That's a
Arya.
great line, especially at the end when he says he's going to set Smoky Mountain on fire.
Hey, Arya.
Hey, Trae.
You know who else is black? Ice
O.J.
Train.
Simpson?
Ice Train.
That's what we call a callback in the business.
I promise it's not as stupid as it is as stupid as it sounds. It's as stupid as it sounds.
Yes. However, go back in time like a month or 2, you'll get the reference.
The real we talked. Arya mentioned Ice Train for some reason, and she said to me, "This will be the only time that Ice Train is ever referenced on the show." And I said, "I'll find a way to reference Ice Train again." She goes, "What are you gonna say when the Gangstas debut? Or are you gonna say, you know who else is black? Ice Train."
And it popped the hell out of me as I was saying it. Oh Lord. And then of course the best closing line of any promo ever. I'd like to send a special shout out to my homeboy O.J. Simpson. Keep up the good work. 2 less we gotta worry about.
That's great. Now, there's another promo that I'm waiting for, and it's got to be soonish with the Gangstas and Cornette.
I could be wrong, but I don't think that's till the end of the year. I could be getting my timeline mixed up, but I don't think that's till the end of the year. But here is Bob Caudle calling them the Gangstas. Oh Lord! This is when you do your job too well, because New Jack, he never would have fit in anyway. But a promo like this is why New Jack was never, ever going to get a job in one of the big 2 companies. It's like
I will forever be sad that Vince put the kibosh on bringing in New Jack as the guy who stabbed John Cena.
Well, we have Jesus on standby. Why do you need New Jack?
New Jack is not like he's not like the greatest catch as catch can wrestler of all time or anything.
He's not.
But I don't think John Cena versus New Jack would have been as fucking boring as that pay-per-view match with Cena and Jesus.
But not Jesus. Yeah, it was what it was, I guess we'll say. So from here we go to the Night of the Legends update. And I wrote, we've aired about 21 minutes of audio in 24 minutes of this show so far. So unless we're about to hear the greatest promo of all time, we ain't airing it here. And we did not hear the greatest promo of all time.
Yeah, this is less profiled Whitey Caldwell, who we've talked about. He was a legend in Tennessee wrestling who died in a car accident in 1972, and he Les was his tag team partner. Yeah.
And I'll say this, like, especially if you don't know a lot about Whitey Caldwell, and I'll be honest, I really didn't. This was a really good feature. Yeah. They did a great job on these Knoxville history segments, and I'm imagining this is probably going to be the last one, and I'm kind of sad about that. I would like to see them continue in some way.
That's when our first stop with the temporal time machine is going to be to see Ron Wright versus Whitey Caldwell.
Ron White versus Whitey Caldwell.
There you go.
They noted that he had a dozen different tag team partners, and all that told me was that Whitey couldn't get along with people.
Maybe they couldn't get along with him.
There you go. Now for like the most anticlimactic follow-up ever, we go back to the ring for another tag team match, which is the Thrill Seekers versus Brian Logan and Steve Skyfire. They've really been pushing well here that it's not just the Heavenly Bodies coming back to break the stipulation from what was it? Not Volunteer Slam, but the show in April. That they're really pushing that it's the WWF and the Smoky Mountain Wrestling that are forcing the Heavenly Bodies to come back for this week of matches against the Thrill Seekers. And they are saying that no matter what happens, win, lose, or draw, they are here for 1 week and 1 week only, and will be leaving again on the 13th.
The announcers brought up the possibility of the Thrill Seekers against the Gangstas, and I was so sad that never happened.
Yep. Like, I don't know if he comes back to do any promos or not, but literally Night of the Legends is Jericho's last match.
Yeah, he's in Storm's corner for like the rest of the loop, and then he's gone.
Yep. All right, and Jericho pinned Skyfire with what basically amounted to a pop-up seated senton.
I wrote a flying crotch.
I couldn't call it that because that's what I call what Tracy does on TNA.
So, I'm sure he's a nice guy. Brian Logan is kind of the shits. Like, he can take stuff if someone else is controlling him, but everything that depends on his timing is mistimed. And yes, I am assuming that the arm drag and the drop kick were Brian Logan's fault and not Lance Storm's. Just a hunch.
We have high hopes for young Lance Storm and for Brian Logan. Maybe he should stay as guest referee or whatever else he does.
What was his name? Brian Keys?
Yes. All right. So after a legendary heel promo, we're going to go now to another heel promo with the Heavenly Bodies and Jim Cornette, because we haven't had enough Jim Cornette on this show yet. Let's go to that right now.
You know, I hope the Thrill Seekers are feeling better because the banner headlines in all the wrestling magazines, all the newspapers, everybody's talking about the Heavenly Bodies coming back to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. The ban hadn't been lifted yet. I'm still working on that. But thanks to the Thrill Seekers going to all these officials, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the World Wrestling Federation, everybody getting involved in it. The Thrill Seekers want their chance to get even. Don't want to chase the bodies all across the country, so they're going to get it. August 5th through August 13th, the Heavenly Bodies are back at Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and they're going to do some damage to the Thrill Seekers. Yeah, they're still making accusations. They're still making statements. But, Jimmy, let me ask you this. Are these guys just a little bit too cute to give you guys a problem? Huh?
You know, first off, Jimmy, all the girls are going to be so excited to see us back at Smoky Mountain. They're going to run from them Thrill Seekers, little baby face, cute boys. Well, hey, boys, we're coming back to Smoky. You mean they used to have cute little... Oh, that's right! Not anymore. I think after that trunk got slammed on your face, Jericho, I think after you got punched in the gut a few times and in your mouth, Storm, I think you guys found out that it's not so easy when you're real cute and real pretty. All the little girls may pat you on the back and say how nice and wonderful you may be. But remember, when we come back to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, there's not too much distance between a pat on the back and a kick in the pants. And we'll not only kick you in the back of your pants, but we'll kick you in your teeth, too, again.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. You know, everybody's talking about the Night of the Legends, August 5th, Fire on the Mountain in Johnson City, August 6th. It's a big week for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. But the big news of all is the Heavenly Bodies returning to Thrill Seekers. Let me ask you this question. I want you to sit back, think about what happened to you. You asked for these guys. You say it was the Heavenly Bodies that attacked you in that parking lot? Well, for sake of argument, let's say it was. They were on you for about 1 minute. Look what happened to you. What do you think's going to happen when they're in a wrestling ring with you for about 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long it takes? They've gone an hour. And everybody knows it. And they can make it last and make it miserable every single stinking second of the way. How did it feel, Jericho, when that trunk lid came crashing down on the back of your head, splitting that flesh open like a ripe watermelon? How'd it feel when that doctor took that long needle and stuck it in that scalp and put those 18 stitches in there? How'd it feel, Lance Storm, when your head got slammed into the side of that car and that fist came crashing down on your face time after time, making it look like a pound a week and a half old hamburger? Ooh. That's just a small sample of what the heavenly bodies can do and have done in the past to everybody. Ask them all. It's happened. And Thrill Seekers, it's going to happen to you. The baptism of fire is coming to Smoky Mountain Wrestling when the heavenly bodies meet the Thrill Seekers. You've had the press. You've had the publicity. You've had the fans. You've got all the fancy Dan moves. Now we're going to find out if you've got the guts and the heart and the desire to get in that ring and do what needs to be done against a couple of guys that don't care what they got to do to break somebody's leg, break somebody's arm, bust somebody's head open, and end somebody's career just because, number one, they got a reputation, and number two, they like doing it for fun. Thrill Seekers, heavenly bodies coming at you. You better get ready. No doubt about it.
Okay. How many 5-star promos can one person cut on one show?
I would think that Mr. Cornette might have the record if records of such things were kept.
Good Lord. Or at least, number of 5-star promos per hour of wrestling television.
Yeah.
Good, like Jesus Christ was like, and I'm sure this was taped. If you go back and look at whatever the last WWF TV taping was, I'm sure that's when this was taped. So, like when Cornette was putting this together, he didn't know. He may not have known that New Jack was going to cut that promo. He may not have known Bullet Bob was going to cut a great promo, or that he may cut another great promo on the show. This is like one of those shows where it's like, hey, we've already talked about all the wrestling on this show, and there's not a whole lot of it. This is a very promo-heavy show, and they knocked it out of the ballpark with all these promos this week.
Yeah, I feel like those are probably the best shows when we just played lots of good promos.
And the funny thing is, we're not even close to being done yet. For here, and by the way, like this is like almost the most serious we've ever heard Tom and Jimmy be on this show, which, I always like. Of course, we got all the Tom fluffing and Jimmy Dory being a scumbag. And we mentioned this before when they were in the territory, the big difference between Jimmy Dory and Stan Lane. Stan Lane would talk about how they fly their women in from Florida because the women around here are this, that, or the other thing. Jimmy Dory will fuck anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's he earned his name.
And I don't know if the man behind Jimmy Del Rey would fuck anything, but they always say that the best characters in wrestling are you turned up to a 10. I believe that Jimmy last name would definitely fuck anything.
I absolutely believe that James Richmond had. I think it's Richmond. I believe that he got it where he could.
There you go, and it was definitely encouraged by the booker of the territory.
Oh, I was wrong altogether. David Everett Ferrier.
David Everett Ferrier. Who the fuck is James Richmond?
Didn't he do jobs on Nitro as Jimmy Richmond or something?
He was Jimmy Graffiti.
Okay, I could have. Okay.
So I'm only going to say this because you're a historian. Otherwise, I wouldn't think this might have been something you think of. But James Buchanan Richmond, living from 1842 until 1910, was a U.S. representative from the state of Virginia. Yeah, there is one living, quote unquote, famous James Richmond, a Paralympic soccer player, British player in the 2012 Paralympic Games. Now, my guess, knowing how much you love the fake sports, that's probably not the James Richmond that you may have been thinking of.
Okay, here's what fucked me up. According to Cage Match, On the December 19th, 1996 WCW Saturday Night, Chris Jericho defeated Jim Richland.
Okay, then.
Who was in fact David
Jim Del Rey.
Terrier. According to Cage Match.
Yep, I believe you. Well, we fight with Cage Match, and Renee Paquette talks to her husband walking by her in the crowd. Let's go to a promo with the Thrill Seekers, which will not be as good. Just spoiler alert.
I think you saw they're 100% no doubt the Thrill Seekers are back. They're 100%. You guys really got banged up by the Heavenly Bodies, Jim Cornette, but you're going to get an opportunity to get some revenge.
That's right, we got beat up. Heavenly Bodies jumped us from behind in the parking lot. But as everybody can see, we haven't lost a step. They didn't get the job done. Now we want a chance to get our hands on them. We've gone to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and they've talked to the World Wrestling Federation. And the World Wrestling Federation has ordered them to return to Smoky Mountain Wrestling for 1 week in August to face us. And that's what me and my partner are looking forward to, that 1 week in August. That's right, Heavenly Bodies. Everybody knows that it was you who attacked us in the parking lot. And let me tell you something, Jimmy Del Rey and Tom Pritchard. The Thrill Seekers have got more guts in our one little finger than you've got in your entire Heavenly Bodies. So in August, you guys better watch out, because when you come back to the Smoky Mountain Wrestling area, we're going to be there to give you a welcome home party. And you're not going to like it, baby.
How can they be so sure that the Heavenly Bodies won't like it? Maybe they're masochists.
Your entire Heavenly Bodies was a pretty decent line.
Indeed. By the way, did somebody dump like an entire pail of water onto both of these men? Jesus Christ. Nobody on this show was sweating as much as they were. And so I'm like, well, maybe they don't have AC in that high school, but nobody else had the same issue.
Okay, did anybody do as much on this show as they did?
That's true too. But I was just like,
this is July in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm like, they're dripping with sweat.
Yeah.
And I guess, hey, they're from Canada, and I know Canada gets warm, but I mean, hey, Canada's a cold place to be. And when you go from there to North Carolina in July, that can be a big, big difference.
North Carolina. Remember that? Remember when that was a thing?
Yeah, I do. And believe it or not, even though I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, it took me a long-ass time to figure out why Justin Roberts said that during Kenny Omega's entrance. And even though I now know it, it still doesn't make any fucking sense.
Is it a Michael Jordan thing?
Yeah, because he's from the University of North Carolina, and the Chicago Bulls announcer, when he introduced him, we were like, from North Carolina, blah 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 blah, and that's where that whole thing was supposed to be. And to me, it's like when the Dark Order came out in Lawnmowers that time on Dynamite. I shouldn't have to read the Observer to figure out why something is happening on a show that has around 1 million viewers.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about, you talked about Lawnmowers, and it made me think of the Mexicools, and then it made me think of the time that they came out on their Wandeers, and then the BWO came out on Blue Big Wheels.
Yep, I think that was the Great American Bash.
That was the Elevated Enzyme show, wasn't it?
Nope, that was the year before. This was
the
Muhammad Hassan Must Die show.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Poor Muhammad Hassan. It's like you hear stories like he was not like a very nice person, at least at the time. But it's like it's not his fucking fault that his career ended because, of really shitty booking.
Yeah, kind of sucks to be him, but yeah.
Like he went from possibly winning the world title, because I think a lot of people thought he was going to get the belt at SummerSlam, to being out of a job.
Yeah. Mark Capani did nothing wrong. He did everything he was supposed to.
Yeah. It's like how we say New Jack, did his job too well. In many ways, Muhammad Hassan did his job too well.
Yeah.
And it's like I get like he wasn't the greatest worker in the ring, and I get that a lot of it was, not what that character was supposed to be, but he did the number one thing you're supposed to do in wrestling, and that's get a reaction.
Boy, did he.
Yep. All right. So after the Thrill Seekers, we got a Fire on the Mountain promo, and after that, we get a video from 1992 from this promo they start with. It's with Terry Gordy, but then they segue into a recently cut promo. Let's just go to that right now.
There is not a man alive today that can beat me. And you see what I did? The bombs are already starting to fall, Daddy. The bombs are falling. And it's just like this, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. If they've got a title, then it belongs to Terry Gordy. You can put your money on it. I know the commissioner, he's already got his money on it because he knows what Terry Gordy can do. I've done busted his head a couple of times, so you ask the commissioner what Terry Bam Gordy can do. You know, Terry Gordy don't have no friends. And I'd just like to say this. I am the man that will hold that title up there.
And I'm going to get that title, and I don't care who I have to go through, dirty white boy. I don't care if it's your old lady or who. And as far as I'm concerned, you're nothing but a obnoxious, overbearing, perverted, egg-sucking dog, just like all them people there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I'm coming to show you, boy, that I'm going to take that title, and I'm going to take it, and there ain't nothing you or your old lady can do about it.
Now, I get the feeling that this time next week, when we're doing what's essentially the preview episode for Night of the Legends, we're going to like, man, they could have taken this week's show and cut it up into two. Because we're going to get to next week, which is going to be a lot of recaps, and we're going to be like, man, it would have been nice to get this Terry Gordy promo then, maybe get one of the Jim Cornette promos then, et cetera, et cetera. But like, God damn, it's like there's a lot of good shit this week. And Terry Gordy, it's like, this is obviously not the great Terry Gordy stuff, but I thought it was a good, solid promo. I thought, especially for an issue that's, kind of weak, it came out of nowhere. I like this little promo here. He's coming for the title.
Really? Because I wrote poor Terry, that was a bad promo.
I mean, that's the problem. We see so many good Terry Gordy promos 10 years earlier, but it's like, I think at least for this moment, it wasn't terrible.
I would never have guessed that I would see a clip of Jun Akiyama on Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Yes, Terry Gordy beat Jun Akiyama in the best wrestling on this show this week. Yes. And that first part was like during that abbreviated 1992 run where he's talking about the bombs are dropping all the way from Freebird Mountain. Honestly, I would have, in a lot of ways, I would rather have just played that promo from 1992. But, I get it's not very person specific. That's what everyone was cutting a promo about how, this Smoky Mountain title, I want it. Yada, yada, yada.
Well, at least he wants it. But good for the title, I suppose.
All right, so because that's not enough promos yet, Chip Kessler is standing by with the Dirty White Boy, the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion.
This man, the Dirty White Boy, is the three-time Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. But how much longer is he going to be able to hold on to this belt? He's got some tough matches coming up, including one with Freebird Bam Bam Terry Gordy.
The Night of the Legends, August the 5th in the Knoxville Coliseum. Bam Bam Terry Gordy. You're going to walk that out, but when you crawl in the ring, you're going to be looking straight across at the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion, the Dirty White Boy. And then, if I'm lucky enough to beat him that night, I turn right around, drive up to Johnson City on the 6th. Mr. Excitement, Dick Slater. The man's very, very unpredictable, but Mr. Slater, I'm coming loaded for bear. And then Jim Cornette's gone out.
and formed a union. He's getting real big men. So he gets a guy by the name of Conan Chris Walker. Got the big arms, big chest, big legs. Apparently he looks like a very tough competitor, but gentlemen, let me tell you one thing, and I'm talking to all three of you, and that includes Cornette. I didn't get this belt in any cakewalk. I didn't get this title by laying down. I got it by blood, sweat, and tears, beating people up, because that's what the white boy does best. I think I do it better than anybody in professional wrestling. So, gentlemen, I tell you what. You all just get real ready for this. You cinch up your boots good and tight. You call your old ladies the night before and say, sweetheart, I'm fixing to go to battle because I've got to do battle against a dirty white boy.
I would have liked we got some Dick Slater promo in here somewhere, because they are doing the build to White Boy defending the title twice, possibly. But all we hear is from Gordy.
It was funny. They aired a promo for Fire on the Mountain, and the promo just said that Dirty White Boy was defending the title. It did not say against who.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure they said Mr. Excitement, Dick Slater.
I don't know. Maybe
Let me go.
Stupid.
Well, let me go back in time here, because it was after the Thrill Seekers promo. I'm not going to play the audio because it, whatchamacallit, has real music underneath it. And it's also, they don't actually say it, but I'm pretty sure there's at least the graphic.
Okay, I wasn't looking at the graphic.
Okay, maybe that's it. By the way, Conan Chris Walker, do not get used to that name. I don't even think he comes in.
I'm not entirely sure who that is. I vaguely know the name. It's okay. When I hear Conan Chris Walker, I think of Carlos Ashenoff, obviously, and then wasn't Chris Walker fucking Tataka's name or something?
No, that's Chris Chavis.
Okay.
Okay, so by the way, the graphic definitely says Dirty White Boy versus Mr. Excitement, Dick Slater. Now, ignoring the fact, where the hell did Mr. Excitement come from? That may be something for me to go back and listen to in a little bit here. But yeah, but it's also they're not even pretending that White Boy may lose the title to Terry Gordy.
I don't know. I think Terry Gordy could be a future Smoky Mountain heavyweight champion.
I'd be willing to bet that Terry Gordy might win the belt at some point.
Yeah.
And it might be if I recall correctly, it might be a really convoluted way that he does it too.
Oh dear.
Yes. But that's a debate for another day. We'll get to it in a minute, but something happened this week in wrestling that's going to continue until pretty much we get to the end of Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Chip Kessler, he's on the show more and more. So I guess it's not quite as random when he becomes the lead announcer as it seems. But all I'll say is enjoy our non-Chip Kessler time before we get to Chip. A grown-ass man named Chip. If we had subtitles for this show, that's what the subtitle for this one should be. A grown-ass man named Chip.
As it should be.
I think it's the name. I just have a hard time taking a grown-ass adult man named Chip seriously.
I don't know that I've ever known a child named Chip.
It's like Barry. There's no children named Barry. They just appear as adults.
I have a cousin named Barry.
By the way, Conan Chris Walker, just to put a pin on this one here, he was this jacked up, muscular guy. He was in the WWF for less than 5 minutes. And it's he's one of those guys. Honestly, he looks kind of like Tom McGee. Which, yeah. But, yeah, like I said, I don't think he ever appears on the show, but I guess we'll see in a few weeks. Because I think he's another one of those guys like Tony Atlas, where it's like, okay, we're going to bring him in, but he never actually comes in. Can you imagine if like Tony Atlas would have come in? He was supposed to come in with Tammy Fitch instead of primetime Brian Lee.
Yeah, and I believe Tony's wife put the kibosh on that.
Let's see here. According to the always reliable Wikipedia, on August 5th, 1994, he joined Smoky Mountain Wrestling and defeated Richard Slinger, but left the promotion following the Night of Legends.
That match, I believe, is not even on the Night of the Legends release. That starts with Killer Kyle versus Doug Furnace.
Spoiler alert.
They announced that, didn't they?
They announced that match, yeah. But I just mean like the match order. Walker was originally brought in at the last minute to replace Jake the Snake Roberts when the former WWF star stopped showing up to events. It was planned for Walker to feud with then Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony. However, he was similarly released from the company after no showing 3 shows, and Walker's spot would eventually go to Bruiser Bedlam.
Probably for the best.
And this might be something for us to look forward to way into the future. Walker resurfaced in Extreme Championship Wrestling at a house show in Marietta, Georgia on October 4th, 1998, and was defeated by Bam Bam Bigelow.
I'll bet that was a Lulu.
I bet. And he did return to WCW and won a dark match on May 25th, 1999 against the preliminary opponent. He would then retire from wrestling. So he may be like somebody who went out without putting his shoulders down.
Has a 3.26 rating on Cage Match.
Chris Walker has?
Yeah.
I don't believe Chris Walker.
He was, okay, at least once, he teamed with Demolition Axe as Demolition Blast. They were Demolition 2000.
Yes. It doesn't say what this promotion is, but in Wikipedia it says a year later, Walker appeared in London, competing now as the Warrior. He wrestled the Iron Sheik to a draw on July 16, 1994. The same night he teamed with Big Bull. Actually, no, this Wikipedia's got it different. They say the same night he teamed with Big Bully Busick in a losing effort to Demolition 2000.
Oh, fuck, you're right. It was Demolition 2000 against Big Bully Busick and Chris Walker. I can't fucking read.
It's all good. It wouldn't be the first time that the always reliable Wikipedia was wrong.
By the way, that was World Martial Arts Wrestling Federation.
Oh, of course. I did not mean to besmirch the World Martial Arts Wrestling Federation. Again, you'd think this is one of those shows that there wasn't anything going on, but there's like 50 minutes of audio in a 44-minute show. Now, you may be sitting there going, what the fuck else is left on the show? Because this is not yet the end of the show. What else? Who else has not been on the show yet? Well, Chris Candido, Tammy Fitch, and primetime Brian Lee are going to close out the show with a promo.
All right, fans, with us right now, primetime Brian Lee, Chris Candido, Miss Tammy Fitch. And I understand the Legal Defense Fund not doing very well, Tammy.
Oh, sure, you had to bring that up.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject, all of you people out there, you're not sending in your money like you're supposed to be. You're not sending in the money fast enough for me to keep my lawyers. Now, if I don't keep my lawyers, I'm going to have to continue with these matches, and God knows I don't want to do it. And everyone knows my boys don't want to be involved in either of these matches, because for one, they don't want me to be handcuffed to Ricky Gibson, because God knows what he'll do to me. And they also don't want my head shaved because, I mean, life will never be worth living again for these boys if I was bald. Ricky Morton, let me just tell you this. I haven't conditioned my hair in 3 days. I used to have the most beautiful hair. I still have the most beautiful hair, more beautiful than any people here. I haven't conditioned in 3 days because I don't want Ricky Morton to have the satisfaction of shaving a beautiful head of hair. I'm going to make it look as ugly as possible. Wait, what am I saying, guys? I don't want to get my head shaved.
Vegas money, and I don't think she would look very good with a shaven head. That'll wrap it up for this week. We'll see you next week, fans. And until then, so long for now.
Okay. So yeah, just a quick little promo there by Primetime Brian Lee, Tammy, and Chris Candido. The fans are not sending in their money, and I mean that's not surprising since they refuse to show us what the address to send the money into is.
Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, I think she almost needs to, file a lawsuit against Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Yeah, because that's worked so well in the past.
Or at least, try to slide some papers across what's her name's desk, Pam Lawson. I mean, this is around the time she's taking her 2-week vacation to leave the territory. We've got that coming up. We got Pam Lawson and then Casey O'Connor like back to back. No wonder Cornette was going bald, But yeah, life will never be worth living again if Tammy were bald. And that is how this show finally comes to an end. 130 down, 70 to go. They do tell us, by the way, next week on the graphic, the Rock and Roll Express and Bambi are going to take on Primetime Brian Lee, Chris Candido, and Tammy. So we'll actually get a match next week.
Exciting.
Yes. So overall, I would give this show an easy, 3 3/4 thumbs up.
Yeah, it's fair. It was not a lot of great catch can wrestling, but there's a lot of good promos.
It was one of those shows that 3 wrestling matches did a total 7 minutes.
Yeah, about right.
Okay.
And that might be
All right.
counting. That might be counting Terry Gordy power bombing Jun Akiyama.
The funny thing was, I'm like, who is that Gordy's in the ring with? I could not figure it out. I was like, is that Kobashi? Like, no, that's not Kobashi. But I could not figure out who it actually was.
Kobashi wore orange and Akiyama wore blue until Noah. And then Akiyama has worn white from then on.
That's how I actually knew it wasn't Kobashi, because I'm like, oh, it couldn't be Kobashi because Kobashi wears orange.
Yeah.
So I know just enough to know that. I think I deserve points for that. So anyway, before we go, we'd like to tell you what else is happening in the world of wrestling. And the big news, and this took up at least half of the Observer this week, the headline read, McMahon Titan not guilty. Because yes, the steroid trial of Vince McMahon ended this week, and he was found not guilty on all charges. Now, after the prosecution wrapped things up on July 13th, people were predicting a conviction. However, as the days went by, they actually dropped 2 of the 3 charges related to conspiracy. And sadly, the one charge that remained ended up, returning a not guilty verdict. Now, I know that Dave Meltzer, especially in this day and age, can be considered a little toxic. And there's a lot of people who say a lot of mean things about Dave Meltzer right now in his reporting. However, there is nobody alive that has a more thorough, more in-depth coverage of that trial than Dave Meltzer. So I strongly, if you have any interest in this subject at all, I strongly recommend the August 1st, 1994 edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Even if you have to pay the $15 to get 1 month of the Observer site just to get on there to read that issue, to me, it's worth it.
So fucking sick of reading about that goddamn steroid trial.
Well, the good news is I can't say I'm never going to mention it again, but I am probably not going to mention it much anymore. Elsewhere in pro wrestling, because believe it or not, the trial was not the only thing to happen. WCW held Bash at the Beach, which was a huge financial success doing their biggest buy rate in 3 years. And the show featured Hulk Hogan in his first WCW match, pitting Ric Flair to win the WCW World Title, which he will not lose until we are almost done with Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And we still have 70 episodes to go.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the card was one heel win after another, which was done so there would be one and only one conquering babyface at the end of the day. Now, and then there was a news item that was buried down in page 19 of the Observer, and because it's not a news story at this point, it's something that becomes a news story. Dave mentions that an upcoming big show is going to take place as ECW will be holding a tournament to determine the new NWA heavyweight champion on August 27th in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And he says that whoever the champion is will end up working for the new Crockett promotion that he was doing at this point.
Yeah, some of that doesn't happen.
A lot of that actually doesn't happen. Yeah. So that's Smoky Mountain for this week. And hey, again, one of the best episodes of Smoky Mountain, period. And
think so?
It gave us what was that?
You think so?
I mean, not for the wrestling, obviously, but there was so much good shit on this show.
Okay, there was some good shit.
And it's like I mean, again, we're closer to the end than the beginning. But it's like, enjoy these great episodes while we still get them.
Boy, will I. Boy, will I. It's
when we get past Super Bowl of Wrestling, you may want us to tape the last 10 or 15 episodes all at once, so we don't have to keep doing this.
Maybe World Class will be good by then.
That's in a year, so December of '85, maybe. Although that's after Lance Von Erich comes in, which could be worse than Mike. I'll be honest, I never really watched Lance. I always hear all these stories about Lance Von Erich. I never really watched anything with Lance in it. So,
but you never hear. I don't know. I never got the impression that it was because Lance was the shits or anything. It was just everybody knew it was bullshit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have misinterpreted.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. I mean, hey, we still have Chris. Well, we're not going to see Chris Von Erich. We still have Chris Von Erich when it comes to all-time shittiest Von Erichs.
Is he worse than Lacey?
I mean, I don't think he wrestled enough to really be a fair comparison, I guess. Which I know I just buried him and then said he didn't wrestle enough. Because I mean, Lacey was pretty bad. Yeah. I'm sure she's a very nice young lady. I've never heard anybody say anything like that about her, but she was not very good at professional wrestling.
I'm sure that she pays her taxes and uses her left and right turn indicators.
Thank you, Jim Cornette. All right. So I think we can call it quits for the day. What do you say?
I sure would like to.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.